Osrc News at 7, Governor Ayedatiwa receives UNIMED Visitation Panel's report, promises implementation of key reforms. Ondo State Government maps out impactful Children's Day initiative ahead celebration. University unions demand equity, respect in allocation of 50 billion naira earned allowances. And from the foreign scene, ceasefire on the card after Trump, Putin end talks on Ukraine war. Good evening. Thank you for joining us on Osrc News at 7. My name is Oduayo Sawyer. The visitation panel set up to review the operations of the University of Medical Sciences, UNIMED Ondo, has been described as a critical step towards the institution's growth and excellence. Ondo State Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa, while receiving the report, detailing findings and recommendations of the panel on the institution's performance and structure, lauded its decision to focus on institutional positions rather than individuals. The governor emphasized that the ultimate aim of the panel's work is to elevate UNIMED into a world-class institution. Government House correspondent Wahab Bankole reports.
Hereby inaugurate this institutional panel to the University of Medical Sciences under the leadership of Professor Benga Lumeko. I inaugurate you in the name of the Father, Amen. Of the Son, Amen. Of the Holy Spirit. Congratulations.
That was the moment when the University of Medical Sciences Ondo Visitation Panel was inaugurated by Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa. 8 weeks after, it was time for members of the panel to submit their findings.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency.
The chairman, Professor Benga Olumekun, said the panel had worked tirelessly to carry out a comprehensive review of UNIMED's operations. He explained that the team examined both the terms of reference provided and other vital aspects that could influence institutional growth. Professor Olumekun advocated a culture of annual performance reviews in the university system to ensure continuous improvement rather than only assessing progress at the end of a tenure.
In doing this assignment, we're not focusing on persons as such. We're focusing on positions, because persons will go, but the positions will remain. And we're trying to see how best to ensure that whoever occupies a position does what he needs to do so that the system can be sustained.
Receiving the 2-volume report, Governor Ayedatiwa expressed appreciation for the panel's diligence and objectivity, noting that its scope and depth are evident. The governor remarked the panel's decision to focus on institutional positions rather than individuals, stating that such an approach is essential for sustainable growth and continuity.
We as government have a lot to look into based on your terms of reference. You've even gone ahead to look as a professor who's also a seasoned administrator. Areas that you think can be of help that will move the university forward. We have also looked into that.
Describing the visitation panel a critical step towards the institution's growth and excellence, Ayedatiwa assured that his administration will prioritize the implementation of the actionable recommendations in the report.
I'm so happy with one thing you said in your brief remark before the submission of this report, that in the course of the exercise, you were not just targeting individuals who occupy the seat, but you are looking at the position they occupy. That is the way to build institution. And we are talking about institutional building in this country. And that is one of the ways we can build our institution. You look at the office, irrespective of who is coming to occupy the office, either now or later.
The governor assured that the report will be critically examined for implementation towards the realization of the set objectives. Wahab Bankole, Osrc News.
The Ondo State Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Development has paid a strategic visit to the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology in preparation for the forthcoming Children's Day celebration. Special Advisor to Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa on Women Affairs, Seun Osamaye, who led the team, stated that the visit was aimed at fostering collaboration with key educational stakeholders to ensure a successful celebration. Omorio Ola Ungbeji has the details.
Children's Day is an annual event that brings young ones together in a spirit of celebration and reflection. In line with tradition, the Ondo State government is planning a memorable and impactful celebration for this year's event. Addressing officials at the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, the Special Advisor on Women Affairs, Dr. Seun Osamaye, outlined a series of innovative and educative activities designed to engage children meaningfully under the leadership of Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa. According to her, the event will include school competitions in oratory skills, cultural displays, and a march past. She called on education stakeholders to ensure fair and inclusive representation of all schools across all local government areas, emphasizing the role of such events in building a healthy and inclusive society.
We want to prove to the world that Ondo State children are intellectually sound, they are brilliant. So on that very day, we will have schools send in their representative to speak to the theme of this year's Children's Day celebration. Now, the second competition will be a cultural display. It's not going to be a dance, but a cultural exposure that will reference the locality from which most of our schools are located.
Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education, Folashade Adegoke, along with zonal and area education officers, commended the initiative and pledged their support.
One administration, we have to work together, we have to collaborate, and to make a success of this administration. And that is exactly what we are doing.
This year's Children's Day celebration is themed Stand Up, Speak Up, Building a Bully-Free Generation. Omorio Ola Ungbeji, Osrc News.
Deputy Speaker of the Edo State House of Assembly, Maria Oligbe-Edeko, has resigned her position. Mrs. Oligbe-Edeko announced her resignation during plenary in Benin City, the state capital. Resignation of Edeko, representing Esan Northeast Constituency 2, followed the minority status of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in the Assembly, occasioned by the defection of PDP members, including the Speaker, to the All Progressives Congress, APC. The House thereafter elected Mr. Osamoye Atu, the new Deputy Speaker, after members unanimously voted. Meanwhile, the Majority Leader, Jonathan Aibuka, moved a motion that all entitlements due to the office of the Deputy Speaker be accorded Oligbe-Edeko. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control has clarified its stance regarding the nationwide ban on sachet alcohol. Director of the FCT Directorate of the agency, Kenneth Azikiwe, said the temporary lifting of the ban was only valid until December 31, 2025. He emphasized that the recent ministerial lifting of the ban was not permanent and urged the public to disregard misinformation suggesting that the government had permanently lifted the restriction. Azikiwe highlighted NAFDAC's ongoing efforts to sensitize the public across the country, noting that awareness campaigns had reached every state. He reassured the public that NAFDAC remained fully committed to regulating alcohol consumption and reiterated that sachet alcohol products containing less than 200 milliliters would be phased out before the year runs out. The Nigerian epidemiologist Chikwe Ihekwazu has been appointed Executive Director of the World Health Organization's Health Emergencies Program. The appointment marks a significant milestone, placing the Nigerian at the helm of WHO's largest department, responsible for coordinating global responses to health emergencies. Prior to this role, Dr. Ihekwazu served as WHO's Assistant Director General for Health Emergency Intelligence and Surveillance Systems, and was also widely recognized for his transformative leadership as the founding Director General of the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, where he led the agency from 2016 to 2021. In his new role, Ihekwazu will oversee WHO's preparedness, response, and mitigation efforts for global health emergencies, ensuring that the organization remains agile and effective in safeguarding public. Ihekwazu succeeds Dr. Mike Ryan, who led the Health Emergencies Program through critical events, including the COVID-19 pandemic. We'll take a short break. We're still to come on the news. University unions criticize federal government's 50 billion naira sharing formula. Do stay with us. Please don't go away. Thank you for rejoining us on the news at 7. You can watch us live on our website www.osrc.ng or follow us on Facebook at Osrc TV, and on YouTube you can subscribe to our channel Osrc TV Ondo. A journey of service, faith and humility has reached a beautiful milestone. Last Sunday, Ajibola, a journalist, celebrates his 60th birthday. He also bids farewell to active service, surrounded by love, laughter, and gratitude. Blessing Obey brings us the story.
It was more than a birthday party. It was a tribute to a life well lived. Friends, families, and colleagues gathered to honor Pastor Sunday Ajibola, a man many describe as a quiet force of dedication, love, and unwavering faith. From his wife, Stella, to his children and longtime colleagues, stories flowed, stories of kindness, humility, and a deep love for God that defined his journey.
Anytime I'm in church or away, he doesn't care. He takes care of himself. He's a special man. He's actually a very special man. That's why I told you that either you like it or not, I'm going to have a special day for you. This is still one way. And I'll tell you. So you're not special. And I'll be away for any reason, very important reasons. But you see, you never complain. He's there. He's
a silent achiever, a silent mover. He doesn't make noise. He moves without making noise.
He's just a man who is satisfied with whatever comes his way. He's not greedy.
I want to congratulate you once more, Mr. Sunday Ajibola is special to us in NUD, and that is the reason that he was nominated and he won the award of the most active NUD member in 2024 last year.
For the celebrants, the day was not just a celebration, but a moment of reflection.
Everything we do in life, we are sowing seed. Everything. To people, for people, we are sowing seeds. And the good part of it is that if we sow good seed, we reap it. And if it's otherwise, we reap it also. The way we do with people is being recorded. by God and by them. And this time they will take back. Try to be fair.
A chapter closing and a new one beginning. Born on May 16, 1965, Sunday Ajibola began his professional career at the Ondo State Radio Corporation in 1999. 5 years later, he transitioned to the Ministry of Information, where he continued to serve with distinction until his retirement, exactly 26 years after his first day on the job. As he turns 60 and steps into retirement, Sunday Ajibola leaves behind a legacy of service and carries forward the warmth of every life he touched. Blessing Obe, Osrc News.
In other news, the Joint Action Committee, JAC, of the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, SANU, and the Non-Academic Staff Union, NASU, have criticized the recent disbursement of the 50 billion naira earned allowances approved by the federal government. According to JAC Chairman Mohammed Ibrahim and NASU General Secretary Peter Sadiyemi, 80% of the funds were allocated to the Academic Staff Union of universities, leaving only 20% to be shared among SANU, NASU, and the National Association of Academic Technologists, NAT. They described this distribution as unfair, deepening the divide between teaching and non-teaching staff. The unions emphasized that equity and respect for all university stakeholders are essential for a harmonious and productive academic environment. The Nigerian Bar Association says it would establish an anti-corruption committee in each of its 130 branches to address corruption-related issues. According to the chairman, NBA National Anti-Corruption Committee, Professor Babafemi Badijo, NBA's National Executive Committee at its meeting in Ilorin passed the motion for all its branches to set up an anti-corruption committee mandatorily. He said with the freedom of each branch a national coordination mechanism in articulating what can be done to curb corruption, NBA will be delivering a clear message that corruption is not a normal way of life. Professor Badijo added that the branch-level committees would design their respective activities to boost anti-corruption efforts in Nigeria. At least 3 people have been reportedly killed and 26 others abducted in a fresh wave of attacks by suspected bandits in Kara Namuda local government area of Zamfara State. Sabongari village bore the brunt of the latest violence, with 1 woman killed and around 20 residents kidnapped. Neighboring communities such as Unguwan Sarkin Muslumi, Unguwan Rogo, and Yamitsawa, just a few kilometers away, have been deserted. Governor Dauda Lawal of Zamfara, in response to the escalating crisis, has donated 140 operational vehicles to security agencies and pledged his administration's commitment to ending banditry in the state. Moving on to the foreign scene, U.S. President Donald Trump and his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin have spoken on the phone for more than 2 hours amid efforts to reach a ceasefire deal in the war in Ukraine. Russian state media quotes Putin as saying his country is ready to work with Ukraine on a memorandum that establishes a ceasefire. He thanked Trump for U.S. support in resuming direct negotiations between Russia and Ukraine on a possible peace agreement. After speaking to Putin, Trump is due to call Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and NATO leaders. The diplomatic efforts come as Ukraine says Russia launched its largest drone barrage since the start of its full-scale invasion in February 2022, firing a total of 273 exploding drones and decoys at several Ukrainian regions. The Israeli military says it has begun extensive ground operations in northern and southern Gaza, stepping up its campaign in the enclave, where Palestinian health officials say Israeli strikes killed at least 130 people. Israel made its announcement after sources on both sides said there had been no progress in a new round of indirect talks between Israel and the Palestinian militant group Hamas in Qatar. Akintunde Akishimola has details.
The Israeli military says it had begun extensive ground operation in northern and southern Gaza. The increased military action comes after overnight strikes by Israel killed at least 130 people. Sources on both sides said there had been no progress in a new round of indirect talks between Israel and the Palestinian militant group Hamas in Qatar. The office of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the talks included discussions on a truce and hostage deal, as well as a proposal to end the war in return for the exile of Hamas militants and the demilitarization of the enclave, terms Hamas has previously rejected. A Hamas official said the militant group was still proposing the release of Israeli hostages in return for an end to the war, the pullout of Israel troops, an end to a blockade on aid to Gaza, and the release of Palestinian prisoners. In this video released by the Israeli army, an Israeli official describes its new operation, Gideon Chariot, which included a wave of strike over the past weeks on hundreds of Hamas targets for the purpose, he says, of returning the hostages and dismantling Hamas's leadership. Gaza's health ministry estimates that more than 460 Palestinians were killed during the week. The death of 130 or so Palestinians overnight are in addition to that figure. One of Israel's overnight strikes hit a tent encampment housing displaced families in Khan Yunis in southern Gaza, killing women and children, wounding dozens, and setting tents ablaze, according to local medics. Israel's declared goal in Gaza is elimination of the military and governmental capabilities of Hamas, which attacked Israeli communities on October 7, 2023, killing about 1,200 people and seizing 251 hostages, according to Israeli tallies. Akintunde Akishimola for Osrc News.
And to sports, Ondo State Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa has urged the state athletes at the ongoing 22nd National Sports Festival to remain courageous, determined, and fair while competing. Governor Aiyedatiwa, who paid a surprise visit to the athletes, emphasized that the festival could serve as a launchpad for future sporting careers. The governor expressed his delight at seeing the athletes and recalled Ondo State's proud history at the National Sports Festival since its inception in the early 1970s. Governor Aiyedatiwa challenged the team to uphold and surpass the achievements of past generations and encouraged them to challenge strongholds like Delta State, which has consistently finished first in recent years, and the host Ogun State.
I'm a sport lover, and that is why we are supported, because I believe sports means a lot. Some of you, maybe this is where you'll be discovered for greater performance later in life, where you can make a career out of that. A lot of people have created wealth through sports, and you can also make friends, you know, in the course of the event. But I want to charge you to be determined to compete with so much courage and compete fairly, play according to the rules, so that you don't get disqualified. Look at the history of Nigerian Sports Festival since it started 1972 or 72 or 73 thereabout. Ondo State have been winning medals. The lowest they've ever gone is about 13th position. We have 36 states now. At some time, Ondo State will come 6th. At other times, that 6th position was so regular, you must not go below that. I think at the time they came 4th in one of the festivals. So you can do better. All right? You can do better than others that have performed so well in the past festivals. So I want to encourage all of you put in your best. Like I said, compete fairly and according to the rule of the game. And I'll be looking forward to receiving you back to Ondo State with so much more.
The festival, which started on May 16 and ends on the 30th, features competitions in various sports, including athletics, basketball, swimming, wrestling, and others. To end the Osrc news at 7, another look at the major stories. Ondo State Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa has received a UNIMED visitation panel's reports, and the governor has promised implementation of key reforms and lauded the committee's decision to focus on institutional positions rather than individual. Ondo State government has mapped out impactful Children's Day initiative ahead celebration on May the 27th. We told you that university unions, SANU and NASU, have demanded